Hi, I'm Irene Wong. Today, I'm so delighted to have Helle Rusholt Yi. So I get this name right now. So one of our favorite judge to share with us their experience and knowledge and how to judge and what we can learn as a student. Studio owner and competitive events organizers like Boca and Commonwealth Classic. The first question is that, what are the most important thing as a judge when you look at a competitive dancers from your point of view?
It all depends on what level we're judging, right? So if I'm looking at a bronze level dancer versus an open level, champ level dancer, I have different expectations. But I would say, I'm meaning that I don't expect maybe as much high technical stuff from a bronze dancer, newcomer dancer, as I would from an open level dancer. But I would say priority wise, the first priority always for me is the musicality, the music, right? So, obviously being on time, understanding, a slow versus a quick, if it's an and versus an all that kind of thing. And I think that's important from a beginning. And that's also how I teach. I teach very much musicality first. But of course, as a ballroom dancer, as you know, we have to have a little bit of everything, right? We can't have all the eggs in one basket. So we have to have musicality, we have to have technique, we have to have posture, we have to have partnering and all of that. So you have to kind of look at it all, but you have to make a little priority list in your head because we don't have long time to judge people. So I would say if anything sort of across the board would be the musicality first.
Great. That is so important. So I need to make sure I can count.
Right.
That's one of my weaknesses.
And I think, Irene, for a lot of female students, right, it's really not our job in the partnership. And I feel sometimes if you're a ProAm student and you're a female and your teacher's a male, sometimes they don't necessarily spend the time explaining this to you because like, at the end of the day, you're following, right? So we presume that the teacher's on time and all of that. But I just know from my own career that I was fine to my career before I started understanding all this. And I was like, I should have known this many years ago. But again, it wasn't really explained in details to me because I was the female. So I make a very big point out of that, whether I teach a guy or girl, that you have to know, because if you're sometime on your own, it's nice to know what we're dancing to, right?
That's actually important. So, to know what we're dancing to. So this is so wonderful. This is number one. So, and then when people said, okay, what is more important, the footwork or the postures? Which one is more important from your perspective?
So obviously it's all kind of important, right? But I must say I am a little bit more of a foot person. So I tend to go to the quality of the feet. And I also like that philosophy of everything starts from the bottom. But I totally agree with you. If we get like a big heat on the floor, let's say we have 8 couples on the floor, the first thing that stands out is of course the posture, right? I have to look down to look at the feet. So again, also depending on the level, I presume if I'm judging a higher level event that the posture is in order, right? The arms are where they need to be and the posture is where it needs to be. And now I can nitty-gritty into the details of the feet. Again, if it's a beginner level, one could have a really good posture but terrible feet and vice versa. So it's all important, but I think if I had to pick one of the two, I go a little bit more for the feet. I'm a foot person.
This is great to know because we want to know the priorities. So we all have the limited time as a dancer, so we want to focus where we start, what we can spend time on. That's wonderful. And then, so when we talk about the look, you mentioned, so tanning is the questions that I got asked. We see a lot of it, especially now, the people, especially Latin dancers, really dark tan. And, some people is asking the questions, they ask to the judge, how important the tanning in the whole competition point of view? Do I need to tan or I'm okay to tan? Really need to be dark. So what's your point of view on that?
So, for me, it's one of those things. I'm not judging people on a tan, right? I don't, but it's a togetherness, like a whole, right? So I know for a fact, being a Latin dancer myself, that I felt much better when I was tanned. And of course, if I feel better, I probably, you know, portray a better look of myself, right? Because I feel more confident, or I just feel like I look good. But I think it depends on, you know, it depends on your level, it depends on your age, it depends on, you know, also what style you're dancing. Because if you're doing ballroom, right, you could, and you don't want to tan, well, then choose to wear long sleeves, cover up a little bit more. You can wear your tights, both for Latin and for standard, underneath the dress, right? So if you don't feel it's not for me, the only thing I think that makes, so I'm not necessarily saying I'm going to place this girl first because she's tanned and this girl second because she's not tan, right? But I do think what disturbs the picture is when you have a bad tan, you know, like when you look dirty. That is sometimes a little bit hard to see through. It's the same thing if your hair is not done properly, or it's like too messy, right? It just disturbs the lines in the picture. So a dirty tan is a no-no. And that means you just have to, depending on our skin tone, right? Some people do not need to tan, they're already tan. And some people, like myself, need to tan because I'm really white. You know, but it's more for me to feel better, especially if I'm wearing something a little more skimpy. But as a judge, it's not something I would say, you're not tanned, I can't mark you. You know, you can, and it also again depends. Like if we look at the kids, for instance, right? We don't expect them to be tanned, right? I don't expect them to be tanned. It is what it is, and they can still look great, you know. Yes. So for me, it's not. It doesn't come into the judging as such. But of course, it's an all over presence. Like it's an all over part of being in the ballroom industry. We wear the right shoes, we wear the right dresses. We have to do our hair, we have to do our makeup, and tan is one of them. You know, but I'm not saying you have to be super, super dark.
Right. So is, to me, what I hear is the overall package and how you look good, make you feel good. And then dancing is the art. So portray how you feel. And that's tanning, bring it to it. And then the overall look, that is important.
Yeah.
So this is
because somebody walks on the dance floor, right? Like let's say we're looking at again a semifinal, right? And we don't get, sometimes, most of the time, we don't get, if the semifinalist danced in two heats, we don't get to see the two heats, you know, what is up against each other before we start judging. So I have probably 6 and 6 couples, right? It's those people that walk onto the floor and they look the part. They are already setting, you know, a little thing in your head, like, okay, they know what this business is all about. And it doesn't matter what level they're at, right? But they're just put together for what is right for them in terms of their height and their width and their skin tone and their coloring of the hair, you know, all of that stuff. So then it's much easier to get right to the dancing. And if I have to look through messy stuff, hair that's everywhere, and, you know, a dress that doesn't fit or is not right for that, all that kind of thing, a guy in a bad suit, or you know, think even something for me, the way you put the number on the guy's back, I'm super fussy with that, because especially for standard and smooth, or I mean even for Latin, right? Because the number is on the guy's back. So if somebody's put a number on that's a little crooked, or if the pins are sitting in all kinds of positions, that ruins the lines for me. And it's something you don't necessarily think of, right? You think, oh, I'm just going to put the number on and I've got 4 pins, and what's the big deal? Oh, I'm fussy. You can ask my boys. I'm fussy with that.
Ooh, oh my God. That's good to know. I never thought of that at all. You think, yeah, everything detail in line and, you know, is important.
But it doesn't have to be the best of the best and the most expensive and covered in rhinestones and super dark tan and all of that. It's just so it looks, you know, someone can look super, super nice in wearing something very simple, you know, or just have a little glow, but not being super, super dark.
That was one of the questions, actually you addressed it, you know, is a number of stone, how many stone matters, you know, or it is really is how you look, but not necessary to be a lot of stones or expensive.
And sometimes, I mean, now Blackpool is just on this week or finished last night, right? And in the amateur Latin, there was a dress, the girl that came in second, Sia, she had a beautiful dress on both rounds, like they had 2 dresses for Blackpool, and they had not a single stone on them. And we're talking number 2 in Blackpool, right? Amateur Latin. So for me, it's about wearing something that works for you and something that fits correctly, like really is fitted to your body. And so there you had, I thought she looked amazing, stunningly. Like I even wrote her a message saying, it was amazing. And there was not a single stone on it. So that has nothing to do with it for me. You know, it's what suits you. And also you could tell that she felt good in it, right? That the way she was moving and looking. So that's half of it, maybe more than half.
That's wonderful. Okay, that's great. So, okay, now the next question that I got from someone is that, I'm sure I did too. We fell on the floor while we're dancing. So how will you mark them down when people fall?
No, you can't. No, you first of all, you got to make sure they're okay, right? The only thing you can see is, okay, why did the person fall? Like, did it just fall? Like they slipped, they got caught in their dress, like they tripped, like, you know, it happens. But if it's somewhat like a collision, like you because you're watching, right? And somebody falls down because somebody else was not, you know, doing what they're supposed to do, then I would go and look at the couple that made that other couple fall or person fall, right? And say, yeah, that wasn't so good. You could have prevented that, right? That's not good floor craft, whatever. Marking, I mean, it will definitely go into my consideration if that's the case. But if you're on your own, there was nobody around you and you fell, I mean, stuff happens. Yeah, no, I don't mark things like that down. Just want to make sure they're okay.
That's so sweet. That's so good.
I'll tell you a funny story, which I really laughed. And I remember I was judging a competition and it was a ProAm and the teacher was a female and so the student was a male. And the student fell. Yeah, I think he fell down and they got back up and I could tell that the teacher was so concerned about the student. Like, I could tell that she was like, are you okay? Are you okay to continue on? And he's like, yeah. Picked up the frame again and moved along. And when the heat, it was just close to the heat finishing, right? Or the dance finishing. And I could tell she was still checking in with him. They left the floor. And I thought to myself, you know what? She really was worried about him. And it had such an impact on me because luckily he was fine. So I sent her a message the next day. And I said, I just love the way you treated your student. It was just so, because we're all humans, right? And whatever happens out there is just human. You know, at the end of the day, nobody is a machine or a robot or anything. And she wrote back to me. She said, oh, yeah, I want to make sure because the guy had a maybe hip replacement or something, you know, and she just want to make sure that nothing happened. But he just slipped, you know. But I just thought, oh, it made such an impact on me, the way she was towards him, you know. So yeah, no, I don't mark things like that down.
That is
but you gotta play fair. You gotta play fair and don't run anybody over. You'll get in trouble.
Yes, that's so very good. So another question is that does a pro performance, because we do ProAm, right? Does a pro performance impact how you judge us as a ProAm amateur?
That's a good one, Irene. You know what? Dancing is 2 people dancing together, right? Like the ballroom dancing, it's 2 people dancing together. And I have always a very hard time because somebody said, okay, well, when you're judging the lower level, you just judge the students. And when it's higher level, you judge the couple. It's 2 people dancing together. It's hard just to look at one person, right? So I think as a professional, we have to be very aware of who am I dancing with and what level am I dancing at? So we're not over dancing or under dancing. Do you know what I'm saying? So of course I dance differently. If I dance with a bronze level person, than I would do with an open level person, right? Like, so I do look at the partnership as a whole, but I also understand that if I'm looking at, you know, if I have the ladies up against each other, I have to look at the ladies, like compare them. So obviously I look at the partnership and see how are they looking in the partnership. And then if that's almost sort of kind of even, you know, everybody's sort of similar, then you can go in and pinpoint a little bit, one lady up against another lady or guy up against another guy. you know, to figure out who I want first and second. But in scholarships, where it's the guys and the girls most of the time against each other, and we don't have as many guys as we have girls, I also try and look at, okay, what is your role? Because as a female dancer and a male dancer, your roles are different in the partnership, right? So as a pro-am teacher, my students are obviously male. There's not much I can do for them to do their job, right? And you as a female, you are dancing with the pro, you know, you don't have to lead, right? Your teacher's going to do that. If he has a really great, beautiful frame, it's a little easier for you to also look beautiful in that. If my man has a crooked frame and I'm in a beautiful frame, it just doesn't work, right? It's different roles. So if I do have a scholarship where I have 1 man and 5 women, I'm just saying, right? And the guy is actually very good, but maybe he's a little bit less good than the top woman, I sometimes give him the benefit of the doubt because he's got a different role and his jobs are more than the women. Yeah. But I think it's also being a female myself. I know what they're in for, you know. But yeah, I think as a professional dancing with the pro-am, we have to be very aware of who are we dancing with and what level are we dancing at, so we don't look too much or too little, right? It's okay to look like you're still the pro, like you don't have to, you know, but you have to, you know, we've sometimes seen pro over dance with amateurs where you think you need to tone it down a little bit because of who you're dancing with, or you could give it a little more whack. I know you have it in you, right? Because your student is really giving it its all, you know, so depending on level. So at the end of the day, I do look at it as a partnership. I feel that's more right.
Okay, this is very, very good. So last but not least question is that if you're going to give one piece of advice, you know, for competitive dancers, what would that be?
Enjoy the journey. I feel sometimes we're so focused on, you know, results, and of course that's important. We're in a competitive world, but at the end of the day, the result is not up to you. It's up to you to be in charge of yourself and achieve what it is you want to achieve, like, you know. So just the result is a bonus at the end, right? I mean, obviously we all want it and we all want to win and we all want to make that final, but just don't forget to enjoy the journey, you know, because there's a lot of work and there's a lot of lessons and there's a lot of practice and, you know, whatever that goes into it. You gotta enjoy, you gotta make sure you're in it, you know, because you really love to dance. You know, you love the partnership you're in, you love the music you're dancing to, you know, all that kind of thing, you know, so enjoy it.
Yay! So yeah. I love that piece of advice. I'm hoping I'm enjoying a lot. That's give me a hand.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your sharing.
Of course, thank you.
I hope you find this video useful, and please give me a thumbs up and click the subscribe button to subscribe to my channel, and click the little bell button as well, so when I have a new video comes out, you will be notified. I hope to build a community, and if you have any other questions, please provide comment under below in the comment sections, and I hope to address your questions. And let's keep dancing